Hey guys, this is S. Patrick Brooks with the Heavy Underground Farm Report, man. I am super stoked. I have Buzzard Fight here tonight. I've got Patrick, Josh, and Randall of Buzzard Fight. This is man, just a really kick-ass, like very unique doom band. We're gonna talk about that. They had an album that came out earlier this year, Lysergic Speed Diesel. I hope I'm not slaughtering Lysergic. Is that how you say that?
Oh
Lysergic
no,
Speed Diesel.
Yep.
it's like
Cool.
acid.
Right on. Well, hey man, let's just jump right in. Jacob Baker put your album at number 11 on his list of top 75 heavy albums of the year. Jacob is a very well respected name. You guys are right below Orange Goblin's
I
album.
know
Which,
that was actually my favorite album of the year. Well, I've been an Orange Goblin
tell me
fan
your
forever though.
reaction. Tell me your reaction to that, and some of the other things that other people's reactions to your album. How does that make you feel? What's your reaction to the reaction?
I'm personally like we beat Chat Pile because that's more the way I go. So I'm just like, damn, like, yeah, it surprised me yesterday when I saw it. So
That's cool.
but I'm
Yeah,
the
like
quiet one.
anything. Like I'm excited that any time anybody likes our stuff, I just like get over I don't know. I'm like, oh fuck yeah! I'm like anybody that like compliments or anything just like makes my whole day.
That's cool. Randall,
Yeah,
what'd you think, Randall?
It's
What's that?
it's kind of mind blowing because originally, when someone likes our stuff, we started the whole thing. We're just nerds, We wanted to make this sound good. What sounds good to us. So when other people appreciate that, we don't really care if other people liked it, and it's just awesome to see us sit where we sit on those charts like that. Just blew my mind.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. I love that response. Tell me, you guys. Not everybody might be super familiar with your band, so do you guys just mind giving me a brief history of Buzzard Fight? How you guys got together, and maybe what influenced you to make the kind of music that you're making? Because it's really unique.
You want to take it, Patty?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, me and Randall had been talking about it for years. We both knew in like the root scene. Um, we'd run into each other, and we'd played in punk, bluegrass bands, country, heavy country bands, stuff like that. And so we both have a bluegrass country background, and we both wanted a really heavy project that was just psychedelic, esoteric, out of this world, but sludge it up and just keep people on their toes when they're listening to it, and keep people guessing of what are we going to do next. So it kind of just we started with those ideas and talked about it for quite a few years, honestly, and then finally when Randall moved from Houston up to Kansas City a few years ago, it got serious, and we started working on it, and it just started blossoming from that.
Right? Did
yeah.
it?
I basically responded to a Facebook post that Randall made, like just in like a KC heavy metal kind of thing. I had a band I was in called the Family Band Massacre for like 10 years. Quit that when I owned a restaurant for like 5 years, so I just couldn't do both. But I was done with that, and I was just looking to get back into a band, and I just responded to a Facebook post, and the rest is now history, I guess.
It's crazy. So I'll tell you guys. The first time I listened to your record, I had no idea what I was gonna hear, but Jacob is actually who told me about your band and the name Buzzard Fight. I was like, well, I got to check out something called Buzzard Fight. Tell me, you guys, where'd you guys get the name from? I love it.
I was actually like taking a shit at work, and like we were going through we were going through a
Go
couple
ahead.
names,
I'm sorry.
and I've always been obsessed with like Birds of Prey, and I was like Buzzard, and I was like, no, that's already a band. And then like Weed Eater's one of my favorite bands. I was like Wizard Fight, and I was like Buzzard Fight. And then I flushed the toilet, went back to work, and it was just Buzzard Fight from there.
That's that's a great story, man. You guys, like, because of your exposure through people like Jacob and Doom Charts and the size of our community, although it's not necessarily a lot of people, it's worldwide. What's your reaction to people in other countries listening to your music?
Oh, it's insane. To me, like Mel helped us from Doom Charts, Mel Lee. She
Yeah,
posted about us too, and I know we got on some like Scottish uh, kind of internet radio
Yeah, I
shows,
was
and like uh, they said we sound like a Kentucky Fried Whiskey shot or something. But like, uh, I mean, just to have like this one dude like in Australia like loves us so much, and like I don't know, it's pretty crazy. Like he was like sending
yeah,
us
man.
all these pictures of us wearing his shirt and stuff. He said we sound like he said I sound like Matt Pike playing guitar and Tom Waits on vocals, and I was like, that is the most nicest thing anybody's ever said to me. You know what I mean?
that's cool.
Yeah, man.
'Cause
We've shipped like tapes and merch to Australia, to like Germany. I think I've like 7 or 8 different states. So like it's surprising. Yeah, it's just like all we really want is for people to listen to it and check it out. So it's just nice when you kind of see it. So
Man, that's super cool. I'm in Denver, and I look to the east, and the Kansas City scene just seems to be absolutely blowing up right now. Lawrence, Kansas City, Missouri, that whole area. I talked to the Midwest Doom Coalition, Lance, and he said, "Yeah, it's because there's not shit going on here besides that." I don't know if that's why that. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but what do you think there's something in particular about
It
the
is.
area, the country that you're in
It's definitely
that's
growing. Like I feel like when we started, uh, we didn't really like all the bands that I had known from here had quit, and like since we've been playing, they've been slowly more and more bands gathering together, like Momo Voodoo. There's a handful of good ones that like just all of a sudden popped up, and I'm like, dang man, like it is a really growing scene. I mean, I don't know.
it was
I'm
one of those
excited for what the future has. Yeah.
in Kansas City too. Like the pandemic, like screwed the live music scene. Like so many good like all the small and mid-sized venues closed. So
oh,
like when we were getting back into it, there really wasn't that many places to play. So that was it. Like what Randall was saying, like we've just met all these awesome dudes and all these awesome bands and just started doing it ourselves because it happened. Yeah.
It's a lot of people putting in the hard work that isn't playing music either. I mean, like obviously playing in a band, we want to do it if it wasn't fun. At least Buzzard Fight, but there's a lot of people like just going out and doing the community stuff, going to shows, supporting people, promoting stuff on the social media, trying to get more people to come to more heavy music related stuff. And it's just the people want it, and there's a need for it in Kansas City area. And I think a lot of people are just answering to that call. So
We actually
do
met
you,
Lance because we played a basement show with Thunder Chief at my friend's basement because they were on tour and didn't have anywhere to play. And I was like, oh, we could throw a basement show. Then Lance was in Gurney at the time, and I was like, hey, I'll jump on. And I feel like that was the only two bands around the area for a good 6-7 months.
Randall, you've been actively involved in the Midwest Doom Coalition, and I know this is a project that Lance started with Shane, and it's you guys are like working together as bands and putting shows together.
Hmm.
Do you feel
They
like
actually
there's
added
been
me on the
an effect from
leaderboard.
that? Yeah, but yeah. How do you tell me what you think about this? I think it's you know, looking, coming from a scene like Denver where, we're lucky we have someone putting shows together, but bands don't always necessarily work really tightly together. Tell me, is this making a difference to your scene already?
Yeah, I mean, we've already got some great shows lined up. That I mean, Shane's has incredible contacts, and
Yeah.
so if we even just from that, like we got this fest coming up on the 26th where Bongzilla's headlining, and we're gonna have
Yeah,
like
that's
8 other bands. I think maybe Spirit Mother might be on there. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, and
that's
like
super exciting.
and like I view it kind of like is it like a punk rock type, like in the punk rock bluegrass scene I was used to. Like we'd make friends all over, anywhere we traveled. That way, when they came through our town, we'd hook them up and they would hook us up. And I feel like it's like a bigger version of that, like, a more organized version of, just bands helping bands, which isn't always the case. I don't know why there's so much, friction just
Yeah.
between playing music. There shouldn't be. Everybody should just be helping each other out and trying to help each other
Because
Yeah,
grow.
when I used to play in my old band, it was like there was like us and like two or three other bands that like got along really great and like booked shows together, but like it was like Randall was saying, it used to be a really like, no, F you, it's me. Like, I'm going to, like nobody helped each other and it was detrimental to the scene. And so that's pretty much why we all started doing this is got to
So you
lift
guys,
each other up and everybody rises together. So,
yeah. So I went to Ripple Fest this summer, and that's exactly the attitude I saw. And then I saw the show that John Gist put on in Las Vegas last January as well. And those were my first real like
You went to
exposures
Ripple
outside of
Fest, correct?
Denver to the scene. Yeah. And so exactly what you guys are talking about happened at those shows too. Bands watched other bands' sets. Bands encouraged other people to buy other people's merch and then traded merch with each other's bands. But the bands interacted not only with the fans, but with each other. And I'll tell you, that like made a huge difference for me as a fan to see that. It sounds like that's happening in your scene now a lot more than it used to. Do you think that's some maturity of musicians
Oh,
or
for
it's
sure.
driven
And
by some other factor?
that maybe the maturity. I feel like, the stoner doom crowd to me is like a little bit older, 30s, 40s, 50s. And like, I don't know. I feel
it's not
like,
poor kids that just
yeah,
show up to beat the shit out of each other. So,
it just feels
we're all
like,
too old
people
for
are
that shit.
like more willing to just like chill out and help each other out. And I mean, festivals are definitely the way to go. I've played a lot of different festivals, and you make a lot of contacts like that. I mean, because especially if it's a camping festival where you're there hanging out all night,
Sure.
doing
Yeah,
mushrooms,
and
fucking just chilling with everybody. You know what I mean?
the bands are camping right next to the people who paid money to go to the festival. It's just a great way to meet all kinds of different people, different bands, and different genres. You can really bend genres at a festival, a good festival, and kind of expand your musical horizons.
Man, you guys are like a great candidate, speaking of genre bending, because of your country influence, which is really unique on the scene. And you guys, I'm not a big country western fan at all, but you know what? I like when it sneaks into other music. There's a band I used to listen to back in the '90s, Cake, and there was a lot of country,
Oh yeah,
or
that's
not
one of
Cake,
Patty's favorite
Cake,
bands.
well, Cake a little bit, and
I
Cracker
love
is who
kids.
I was. Yeah. Oh, great, man. Me too. I think those guys are like super, like, well, they're weird, but I dig them. But you guys like. It sounds like you made a conscious decision to include bluegrass and country into a doom setting. Are you surprised at how well it works for one? And another way, are you surprised that people are receptive to it?
I think that those two, Randall and Patty,
Or do you
really,
even care? Like, or do you even care if they're receptive to it? Because fuck it, that's what we're gonna make.
I mean, that's
yeah, I
just
think those two. Sorry, Randall, go ahead.
that shit just comes out. I mean, that's just how I write guitar. Like fucking. We didn't really try to do anything. We just started doing it, and like, oh, well, let's add some fuzz to this part and make that part sludgier. But I don't
I
know. I
used
don't
to, and even
feel like
as a
it's so
drummer, I
much
used to go
country
to
as it is like
bluegrass festivals all the time.
swampy. I like a real swampy sound. Like like you're gonna get killed in the woods or something. It's like,
Oh, I want to talk about that too, because "Killed in the Woods" seems to be a major theme for your band. Um, lyrically, you guys are really, it's dark, um, but it's funny, like all your song titles are kind of puns in a way, or play on words. The lyrical content to me seems punk rock. Like, and I imagine that might come from some past background. But tell me, you guys, like, who writes the lyrics? First of all, I'm curious about that.
all right,
Randall,
most of the
pretty
lyrics.
much.
So, Randall, like, tell me, tell me why you find it Because I think you do. You find it important to sing about really serious subjects, but have a sense of humor about the titles of those songs.
I don't know if they're necessarily serious, but I mean, some of them have like maybe like a background objective, but really, I always write the music first, and then I let that dictate what the song's going to be about. Like I try to think of that as a soundtrack. I'm like, okay, right, what would this movie be like if this was the soundtrack? And I just try to write many small movies. Most of them are slasher horror movies, I guess, or like weird science fiction movies. But I don't know. That's just and the
No,
fun part. I mean,
it's
I just always like funny titles. You got to have a little sense of humor. Everything can't be all gloomy all the time.
I
Yeah,
love
it could be about aliens and Sasquatch and Swedish demon children, but it's still fun. Yeah.
I like the Swedish Demon Children song in particular. "Come on, My Ling."
Yeah.
Yeah.
First of all, the wordplay and the title is absolutely hilarious because I'm old and it's like, oh my god, I had to live through that song being on MTV. What was there anything in particular like that's an interesting? Well, like, do you guys want to talk about who My Ling is and why
It
you
was supposed to
wrote
be
that
like an
song?
old folklore, I think Norwegian folklore about like they'd be so poor they would just throw their children in the woods and the children would die out there and they would like come back to haunt the parents like they would do but they wouldn't be nameless and all they wanted to have was like either a grave or a name and they would like grow real big and slowly like sink the parents into the ground or eat them from the inside out. There's many ways that they would torture the parents. But I don't know. I just found it one day. I was looking up old folklore things, and I was like, "Oh, I've never even heard of this." So I just kept researching it, and I just kind of wrote the song together over a couple months.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you feel like your music just gives you like a free opportunity to just write about whatever you want? Like a lot of punk rock's really political driven, but you get to just be creative. Is that something you're conscious of and that you were like, hey man, I don't want to write political songs or I just want to write cool fantasy
I mean,
stories?
if it's if it moves me, I mean, like we have one song called "You're Tearing Us Apart Again," but to me, that whole vision of was just a bunch of like three buzzards just ripping apart a politician. So like, but that was
And Glove Don't Fit's kind of like a fuck the rich people situation. So,
Yeah, I'm always
yeah.
I guess I do have a like fuck the rich type of attitude, even, but there's a lot. I mean, I grew up punk rock, so there's a lot of that angst in there, I guess.
Do you guys find that there's I'll tell you, I come from a punk rock background, and that was my first musical love.
Same here.
What? Yeah. I was gonna say, one of the things I like about this scene is how much punk rock there is in this scene without there being any punk rock in the scene.
Because
Yeah.
I came from like punk bands and like straight up metalcore bands, but loved bluegrass on top of it. So I fully understood what these two were doing. But yeah, so it's
Do you
fun
think
putting
that?
punk rock with train beats. So
Do you guys think there's similarities in those scenes because of like kind of a do-it-yourself attitude? And do you
yeah, I
think
mean,
you
look
run
how
into
many
And
this?
which
soul
two
punk
scenes you
bands
talking
there
about?
are.
What scenes are you talking about? The bluegrass scene or the punk rock
I'm
scene?
talking more like the punk rock scene, but I don't know anything about the bluegrass scene, so speak to that because I'm interested.
Well, I mean, I was actually in a like punk rock bluegrass scene. So was Patty. And the first festival I played was called Farmageddon, which I mean, Weed Eater also played, and
Oh,
Spirit
okay.
Caravan played. So like, I feel like they've been mixing together for a long time.
Okay, maybe
Like
I
every
just need to
bluegrass
like
festival
open
I've
my
been
eyes
to
to
like
that.
that always has some kind of doom or stoner rock band playing. They played at Muddy Roots a lot. I mean, Orange Goblins played there. I played at Muddy Roots when Sleep played and High on Fire played. So, I mean,
And
I feel
even
like
if you
they've
go to
always
like
been, and they always have punk
even
bands in
if you
there
go to
too.
bluegrass festivals
Dead
and
Boys
stuff like
plays,
that,
Zero Boys.
fast bands and all kinds of stuff. Sorry, we're talking over each other.
No, you guys are good. Go ahead, John. Go ahead. Whoever wants to finish their point.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Go for it.
Oh, I was done. I think.
Oh,
I
I
gotta
was
get
just saying.
I gotta get like a spinner here in the middle and like spin it.
No, I was just
Yeah.
saying, like, even going to like straight up classic bluegrass festivals like Winfield and stuff like that, you still run into like folk punk bands and dudes that used to play in punk bands and metal bands. Like, I got bored with that. Let's try this. And like, there were these guys I knew from Lawrence called like the Fast Food Junkies that like they were all in metal bands, and they were just like, let's start a bluegrass band. So they just played real fast bluegrass and like shredded it. But
Hell yeah.
so it's always been there. Yeah.
I love it, man. That's what you guys. The songs are great. And do you guys are you guys thinking about doing a new album? Have you
Oh yeah,
into that
we had to take like a
stage?
little bit of
We're
break
writing.
because Patty's an over the road trucker, so he's gone most this year. But I've probably written like 7 songs, enough for another album. As soon as we all get it all down, I mean, I think it's gonna
Are
be
you
more
guys?
musically advanced than what we were doing the last album. I think.
Well,
I think we
man,
lost Josh.
I can't wait for that because I thought, man, I like you guys. The playing on the album is just fantastic and it's super fun to listen to because you guys are all really good musicians. I dig that part of it. You guys, you just
I've been learning a lot
recently.
more chicken picking,
Oh,
so there'll probably be a lot more of that in there.
but I am a failed guitar player, so all that stuff impresses the hell out of me. Like, so yeah, it'll sound so good in that doomy atmosphere with the heavy distortion and stuff. I'm stoked about it. So, you guys, your last album, you guys just had an opportunity to put that out on vinyl, right?
I mean, we
Yeah.
paid for it. So,
Yeah.
That's
We
still
got
an
test pressings so
opportunity.
far.
but
That's
yeah,
in
we
the
should have
scene. An opportunity to spend your own money is the opportunities we're generally talking about.
Yeah, I mean, the first one came back. There was like a mistake on side A, so we're waiting for
Yeah, side
the
A didn't play
next test
correctly, so
pressing.
we've got 10 bad test pressings.
Nah, man. All right. Well, back to the old pressing board or whatever they say. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah, we
that.
should get the new
Obviously,
ones next week.
hell
So
yeah, that's cool. You guys put out a really interesting merch product like a couple of weeks ago, and man, I like get up every morning and like suck down a couple cups of coffee. Fuck, there it is. Yeah, I
you can
want to
thank
talk.
Patty for this one.
Yeah, that's
Right
all
on, man.
Patty
Well,
right
you
there.
guys, you like, so I'm, I'm not like the biggest coffee gourmet in the world, but you know, I like Howling Giant put out a coffee that I bought when I was at Ripple Fest, and I put it in a French press, and it was like the best. It was like so beyond regular coffee. So tell me about your coffee. Like, I mean, seriously, like, is it a dark roast? All that coffee information. I want your coffee information.
Yeah,
Patty
so
did the cooking.
so this was just like a little thing I wanted to do for the other guys in Buzzard Fight. It was kind of like my holiday present to them. But I got a buddy up in who he has a punk rock coffee shop. He bought an old church on the south shore of Lake Superior up in Wisconsin, and he's kind of homesteading out there too. But turned it into a coffee shop or and coffee roaster, and I've been buying like 5-6 pounds of beans from him a month for years now. But I was like, hey man, what if we did a roast and I just like, slapped Buzzard Fight on there, I I don't drink, and I wanted something there at shows that was really fucking good that people could drink, and man, coffee just makes you feel good. So we
Yeah,
put
yeah.
together I believe it's a Peruvian
You said Peru and Tanzania.
Tanzania and Peruvian blend. So it's a little bit it's probably a pretty dark medium, but
Oh,
kind of
it's
it's
good
Got a
jam.
lot of
acidic.
chocolate and cherry notes.
Yeah, oh yeah, very
Okay.
chocolatey.
Oh man. Well, all right. Tell me, where can I get that?
You can get it on our online store if we have any left. This was kind of a soft opening. Like I said, a little gift to
Fair
the
enough.
boys. A lot of them got made into, holiday gifts. But
All right.
yeah, if there's any left, that's online
So
on
if
the
you're
online store.
listening, they are completely sold out. So don't even go look until I get a chance to get off here and go look. So
I'll
actually,
think you
no,
get
seriously,
one. But yeah, they're on the web store. There's ground and whole bean too.
hell
So
yeah. Oh, right
Hopefully, we'll
on.
have a
Cool,
wake and
man.
bake combo soon.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I am hoping for that as well. Absolutely. You guys, do you have any shows coming up that you want to talk about, or anything that you guys want to talk about that you
We
have
got
coming up?
a show on the 11th The place
Next
called
Saturday.
Farewell with Drifter and a band called Plague of Carcass, I believe,
Hell yeah.
from
Percussion.
Chicago.
Badass.
And so that'll be a
Badass
very
band.
epic show. Then we have
Right on, man.
that Bongzilla show. We'll be playing that show.
Man, you guys, I'm a huge Bongzilla fan. That's a great
Me too.
opportunity for you. Right on.
I was in a band in Texas called Buzzard Fight. I mean, Hoof Rot. Sorry. And and it was kind of similar, but a little less country. But like that was going to be our first big show was with Bongzilla, and then COVID happened, so I didn't get to fucking end up playing with them. So, but now it's my chance.
One fun show we have booked in May. It's not necessarily a public show, like people can't come, but we're going to play at the prison in Lansing, Kansas.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the public can come if they make proper arrangements, Josh.
yeah, you just have to plan
Yeah,
ahead.
there we go.
Yeah.
So if you really want to see that show, I don't know, visit your local liquor store without any money. I don't know. I'm not suggesting you do anything like that, but no, that's super awesome that you're going to do that. What compelled you guys to do a show like that?
We played a show up in Leavenworth at a place called Vivo, and we'd kind of been hearing about it from different people kind of in the like local scene. And the lady that books the shows there basically came up to us at that show and was like, yeah, let's do it. So we finally got in touch with her, and I think we're doing it. It's like a Thursday from like 5 to 7, like that kind of thing out in the yard. But yeah, they do it like I think basically when it's warm, like March through October out in the yard. And it's just, for like the minimum security wing, it's just like here's a nice thing. So
hey, that you know what? Like seriously, like you can't forget, like just because people made mistakes doesn't make them not be human beings.
I mean, I'm a fellow.
I really admire you guys doing that. That's really cool.
We've all had various times when we've been in that same situation. So
maybe could relate with that. I don't know, man. I just sell weed legally now, so that's all I got to say about that. But hey, guys, I really appreciate you taking the time tonight, man. If you're not familiar with Buzzard Fight, jump on Bandcamp or Spotify. Give them a follow on Spotify, even if you listen some other way. Please buy music. That's the best thing you can do for bands. So, but check these guys out if you're not familiar with them. If you are familiar with them, I hope you got learn some new stuff about the band. And like you guys, I really appreciate you once again. If there's anything we can do for you guys here at the old Heavy Underground Farm Port, let me know. Do you guys have anything you want to say in closing?
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh yeah,
I love everything that you do. You're a huge pillar in everything that we're trying to do and be a part of. So thanks for just all the support and being there for all the bands. It's awesome.
It's my pleasure. And you know what? My experience has been just fantastic because bands have been just like you guys, open and accessible, and you have great stories, and the music you're making is a big part of my life. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah,
guys. Well, hey, hell yeah. Well, thanks for tuning into the Heavy Underground Farm Report. Buzzard Fight, they're fucking awesome. Check them out as soon as you can. You guys, I'm going to stop recording, but I'm going to hold you guys for just a second if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate you guys. Hey, you guys, that was awesome. Thanks, man. It's like sometimes it's really